Three, two, boom, one. We are live and on the air. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel, Yankees Outdoor Adventures. I am Maèxelawèn Osapèkwinùnt. You can call me Yankee. And today I am with a guest, John Hodges. John Hodges has a channel, John Hodges Anything Outdoors. You can find the link in the description down below. If you're new to the channel, thank you for coming. And if this is in a replay that you're watching this video, please let us know in the comment section down below that you stopped in and that you were here. We definitely would appreciate to hear from you. John Hodges, again, has a channel that I'd love for you guys to check out. He is a up-and-coming YouTuber and an outdoor enthusiast. And we're going to do a little interview with John. And John, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Awesome. I am doing great. As we get into this, do you have any other social media outlets other than YouTube that you use that you want to tell the people about so that they can check those out too?
Actually, the only thing I have right now is Instagram.
Okay.
I had Facebook, but that's been long gone for about 4 or 5 years now, I guess. So all you people on my Facebook, I wasn't ignoring you. I'm just up there.
Well, and I can understand that. I don't get on Facebook much myself.
That's it.
Okay, but guys, and you can find a link to his Instagram on his about section, and again, the link is in the description down below. Hello, Green Feathers. Hello, Bigfoot, and more. Welcome to the show, guys, and it's always an honor to have you here. All right, well, John, let me start out with what got you into YouTube in the first place? What's the reason that made you start uploading videos?
Well, actually, I wanted a boat all my life. I love to fish. I love to hunt. And I never could justify getting a boat. Well, like 25 years ago, a buddy of mine bought a 12-foot aluminum boat, and I wound up with it summer before last. You know, and it needed some work on it. And I thought, well, I'm just going to shoot some video of me fixing this boat that I used to use when I was a young man, you know, and kind of just went from there.
Right on. So would you just decided you was it mainly fishing type style videos you wanted to do in the beginning then?
I didn't catch all of that.
Well, you mentioned that you got the boat. Is that interested you to get out to? Is that what got you making the videos though? Was it a type of fishing video, or what was it you were starting out doing?
I thought I was just kind of playing around. I thought I'd make a video of me fixing this boat. I'd been watching some videos of people repairing boats and this and that. So I thought, oh, I can do that. So I just put the camera up and I told my little story about how I got the boat. I thought that was pretty good. So I just went ahead and shot some video of me repairing the boat, which turned out not really very good, but kind of got me.
But it was something,
you know.
Right. Well, YouTube's got a way of doing that. And hello, Posh, and Uncle Al is out there also. Hello, guys. Great to have you here. Well, now as I got in, and of course, like when I do these interviews with people, I always kind of binge into your channel a little bit to try to learn more about you, especially if I didn't really know you beforehand. And now one of the things that, of course, come up in your videos would be the topic of Bigfoot. What actually interested you in getting into that topic on your channel? Because I mean, actually, it's I understand with YouTube, it's actually a good topic. But Yeah. But what drove
Well,
you to
I've
do
always
that?
kind of been fascinated by that. I've always been fascinated by the thought of Bigfoot here in southeast Oklahoma, where we live. You know, there's been a lot of reports of Bigfoot sightings and things like that in this area. So I always pretty much knew about it from a fairly young age. And, you know, I went to the drive-in and saw a movie about the Fouke Monster in Fouke, Arkansas. And that just really got me, you know. So I was always interested in it. And, you know, I've
And
had some
you've had,
strange things happen whenever I'm out.
that's what I was going to say. You've
I'm
actually
sorry.
had some experiences in the past, and guys, you can. He does have accounts that he tells his account in different videos there on his channel. So again, if you're more interested in that, I encourage you to check out his story and you know see what you think about it without a doubt. So you know, I mean, you've actually encountered some things that have led you to believe that there's a little bit more out there than what you know about anyway, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Uh, I had some things happen, you know, that I couldn't really explain. I've been and all that camping, but yeah, there's some things that I couldn't, you know, my mind couldn't wrap around other than that. So
Well, you know, I mean, I too, I've been out plenty
yeah,
of
I thought
times.
about it.
You know, I've been out plenty of times and heard things in the woods and whatnot that I couldn't exactly explain. Um, I I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that I've ever been able to make that jump to it being something that you know undiscovered though. When I hear odd noises in the woods, a lot of times I just think about odd noises that I do know about, and you know when it's rutting season, mating season for a lot of animals. Humans ain't the only ones that get loud and wild. Animals tend to do that too, and some really unique sounds can come from this. And I know, you know, a lot of people say, well, I know what this sounds like and what that sounds like, but to actually hear it in the heat of passion, you may not know what it sounds like. We all know what a cat sounds like, but when you hear one screaming in the middle of passion, you're like, whoa, that's really a cat, you know, because there ain't no meow. It's a scream and a, you know, so these are the things I think about when I hear it. But I guess partially, you know, that would be to calm oneself as well. When you're out alone in the woods, you don't want to be freaked out. That's probably the last thing you really want anyway. So you calm yourself by assuring yourself about your surroundings. At least I do. That's you know how there's not a reason to be scared or worried in the dark in the woods because you mentally know your surroundings, even though you can't see them. You know them. So that, you know, filling in that blank, not having an unknown is kind of important in a sense. So I think that's why a direction I've always went with it. So I'm not a disbeliever of a Bigfoot. I'm just not sold because I had, you know, although I can encounter many times things not being 100% what they would normally be in the woods, I still can't make that leap to saying it was an unknown creature, you know.
Yeah.
Again, that's me. That's my opinion. That's the way I go.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, he walks out of the woods on me. I'm going to have a different story
I
for
totally
you guys,
agree,
right?
you know. I can't even say that I'm 100% because I know that there are things out there that make strange noises, but especially on my property where I've been thousands of times and I hear something odd, that makes me curious. I start wondering about that. And then that one night when I was on the camp trip and I heard those footsteps around my tent, I was in an area that, you're just as likely to see Bigfoot as you are to see a man in the middle of the night out there.
And I get that.
I mean, you just don't, there's nobody out there.
Well, and again, I'm not, please don't take this as I'm shooting down your aspect, because I'm really not, but it's just, to me, no. And again, I got to rationalize my thoughts when I'm out. It's just something that I do. So if I were to hear footsteps, I already know my own brain what I would tell myself, that if I couldn't determine it as an animal and I really felt it was somehow walking upright, I believe even though I was in the middle of nowhere, I think I would easily convince myself that it was human. And because the reason, and so, let me rationalize the reason why I would come to that. As a young man, I did a lot of through hiking, but not through hiking like the kids do it today, where they come out of the woods and sleep in the motel and all that kind of stuff. I literally stayed over 9 months straight on one stretch. I just did not come out of the woods. Okay. Now, I encountered people through this time. I may have eaten with people that offered food, and other times I just foraged for my own. This is how I stayed. I was young, I was healthy, I was able. But the point for bringing all this up is when I was in certain modes, I didn't want to see anybody else. So when I knew or heard or seen somebody coming, even though we were in the middle of nowhere, I slipped off the trail and I snuck and slicked through the woods till I got around them. And then I got back on my trail and went on, because I just didn't want to see people. It's part of the little mental hang up I had back then too, which believe me, I still have. So what did those people think was sneaking by them in the woods on those days when they were in the middle of nowhere? Were they maybe thinking, wow, that's some kind of crazy animal? Well, here it was, just a man when, you thought no man would be there. So again, that's just where I rationalize in with these things, but I think I do that for my own sake. Again, you don't want to go crazy while you're out in the woods alone. The last thing you want is to start thinking that, there's creatures coming to get you. That would just be a terrible night in the woods, in my opinion,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to be too scared to go in the woods. I love it out there. I got some stuff coming up, hopefully, with David Wilbanks from Bigfoot and More. And I think he may be on here. And here in April, actually, we're supposed to try to get together if everything works out right. And
oh, wow.
And he's
so you're gonna do something on your channel with him when that goes down, you think?
Yes, I'll have to do something on there. He's, I've got to know him through this YouTube thing. So seems like a great guy. I don't know how he describes himself as a researcher or a investigator, but
right on.
He's got an area he goes to a lot on his channel. And
hike
guy in Mass.
I was just gonna say, a hike with Mike in here. He says we got the skunk ape that roams about the green swamp in his neck of the woods. And the skunk ape, that's another one that you hear about. We have here in Ohio, Southern Ohio, we have Bigfoot. Southern Ohio, we also have a skunk ape. And Northern Ohio and up into Michigan, we have what they call the grassman, which, they're all kind of variations of the same thing.
Right.
Where did I see Wolfie said something? There it is. In the woods with Wolfie said, there's nothing wrong with going crazy while you're in the woods. It just means less chance of company. And you're right. If you go a little crazy, you won't see too many people. Hike with Mike, letting your imagination get a hold of you. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Knocked my mic over. Mercy. All right, there we go. Letting your imagination get a hold of you is the most dangerous scenario when camping in the woods. And again, I agree with that. It's there's and if you ever been camping with somebody who was scared to be there, you know the bad experience they have during that time. So that's it's a big one, I think, to keep yourself calm and
yeah.
I believe
Faye was with me that night whenever I was going to say Faye was with me that night in the tent whenever I heard those footsteps going around the tent. And it was slow. It wasn't fast. It was like slow walking. I didn't wake her up and tell her, because I'd rather deal with Bigfoot than deal with her being freaked out by the thought of a Bigfoot being outside the tent. But I didn't look outside either.
Yeah, and I can understand that. Mike the caveman says. Mike the caveman says, I believe, but I also bet half or more sightings might just be people who want to be alone. And and I think he's right about that. There's because I'll tell you another little scenario too. That might not be thought about much. Sometimes, even out in the woods, we do have groups of what are best be described as homeless people. A lot of states have it more than maybe other states do, but it's not out of the ordinary to find these people. Now, if you want a technical, they're living illegally, okay? So they do not want to be seen. So they will, A, try to scare you out of the woods if you're in their area, or B, they'll hide from you, which, of course, can create weird sounds and things in the woods. So, these are also other things to keep in mind, though, because again, I played that homeless line for a while. Which, if you guys follow my channel, I was homeless for several years. I lived on the streets. I've lived in the woods. I've done both. The woods I've always found to be more comforting than the streets, personally. The streets I found to be more dangerous than the woods. So my take on that.
I agree with that, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm kind of like 90%. I'm not 100% on the existence of Bigfoot. I called myself, what did I say, skeptically optimistic, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'd say that's what I am too. Yeah, I'd say that's what I am too, because I wouldn't dismiss it. I'm not the guy who's going to sit there and argue that, no, there's no Bigfoot. But on the same note, you won't get the I seen a Bigfoot until I actually undoubtedly see a Bigfoot. That's with me. I will constantly dismiss it until there's no other evidence, until I have no choice but to accept what I'm seeing as other. We had a sighting. We're going to call it a sighting. What was that? I didn't hear you.
Go ahead.
I was a lot younger. I was a lot younger, and we were on a hunting trip, and it was a coon hunting trip. Coon hunting, for those of you that don't know, we did at nighttime. It was a nighttime sport, and you would
Love it.
You would release your dogs. Back then, we didn't have the electronic collars and all that stuff. You literally released your dogs and you listened for them and you followed their direction. Some nights you would go on a 10-mile or more hike just following your dogs through the woods. And you would sometimes go into places that you haven't been into before. We were along a place, and I can't tell you definitively what we seen because the figure was only a shadow figure. Remember, guys, it was dark, and in the wood line, you couldn't see nothing. But there was, in this particular place, there was power lines, the big, those big giant industrial power lines. Well, they cut clear paths for them. So you could step out of the woods and you were into this clearing. Now, it was still dark, but when you looked up at the where the hill went up in the sky and the clearing, you could see, silhouette of what was in that field. You could see the silhouette of the power lines, and we could see a silhouette of something large. At seeing, that's all the further I'll go with that. We had people in the group said Bigfoot. I just wouldn't make that, that commitment. However, we were that night, our dogs were not hunting. Sometimes your dogs don't hunt. Sometimes they go out, they circle, they come back. They're getting just cold trails. If you got a good dog, he won't run a cold trail and make you go 20 miles. He'll come back to you instead of running that cold trail. Well, on this particular night, the dogs weren't hunting. They kept coming back to us. And when we seen the figure, the dogs were with us, but the dogs were cowering. Now, this is really out of the ordinary for hunting dogs, okay? Hunting dogs don't cower. They go run off into the woods in the middle of the night to do their job. But these wouldn't go. They wouldn't, they stayed. When that started happening, the dogs came back and they cowered. They didn't want to be out anymore. So, everybody, again, like I said, in the group would tell you they had a Bigfoot experience. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what experience I had. It was big, whatever it was, and we didn't have bear in the area that I was in. So I don't know. Don't know what I saw, but that's how I have to leave it, right?
I get you. I get it. But I tell you what, I used to coon hunt all the time too. And I tell you, there's nothing more unnerving than having a good set of dogs. I had 2 dogs that were awesome. The last bunch of dogs I had, they wouldn't chase a deer or anything. But when you're walking along and your dogs are out hunting and they come back to you with their hackles up, and they're kind of just low growling and looking around, it kind of makes your hair stand up on the back of your neck too. You don't know what it is. Could be a bear, could be a cougar.
Yeah, because you're not out with just one dog. Usually we're out with a small pack of dogs, and when you got a pack of dogs that are scared of something in the woods, it does make your hair stand up a little bit. Makes you wonder what in the heck's out there. Yeah, without a doubt.
Dogs are scared of anything.
Yeah, right. Mike, Hike with Mike says the Sasquatch uses power lines. Yep, of course, according to the skunk ape hunters. Yeah, I guess power lines are kind of common to see Bigfoot along. Rivers is really common too. Like, I guess apparently if you were to believe the whole run of Bigfoot, the rivers are partially his roadway, which makes sense. A lot of animals use creeks and rivers as their clear path. So again, I'm not against it. I'm just not had. I guess I'm the guy who has to see the Bigfoot laid out here in front of me. But it doesn't mean that I won't accept it at that point. I just need. Go ahead.
Too, but I'm going to ask you something.
Yeah.
You being Native American.
Excuse me?
I think that's one of the things that has really got you about Bigfoot far back is on there. So many and American native have some creatures in their folk. You know, how does that happen? We don't.
Uh-oh. You froze up on my end. I don't know if you're still going out to everybody else or not. Oh, there we go. And I lost it. Guys, let me know what's going on out there on your end in the chat room. If you're able to hear John, all right. Let me know. We lost you there for a minute, but
I can't even see the feed, so I don't know who's out there. But I heard you say hike with Mike. We'll say shout out to you.
Yeah, we got hike with Mike. The ones talking in the chat room. We have more people here than are actually talking, but we did have Bigfoot and more out there. The Green Feathers, Posh. Yep, Posh Notions, Bigfoot and more. Bigfoot and more did mention that they liked your boat video. We got Malcolm E out there also. In the Woods with Woofy. Go Fish Office. Malcolm E. In the Woods with Woofy. Mike the Caveman. And Hike with Mike. I think I mentioned everybody there. And yeah, you were breaking up on their end a little bit too. I think you were asking about the Native American connection between Bigfoot, though. Is that what you were asking? Hey, and Will is out there also. Welcome, Will.
Yeah, you know that's part of what has me thinking that it could be a possibility, because back then they all had some version of Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Right. Well,
how does that happen?
There is a little confusion though, of like, I've had people tell me that, and I know you've seen my Masingu video, because I know you just recently commented on it, and it was a native story about a possible Bigfoot. Okay. The Lenape would not have accepted that as a hairy ape-like creature. Masingu was a spirit god. He was a man. He was huge. He would have left giant footprints. Of course, he was huge. His hair that covered him from head to toe wasn't his hair. It was from a cloak that he wore, made of bear fur. So, to sit and really, and then not even to mention just that, but and we lost John, but Masingu had a bigger part in had a bigger part in their culture than just a creature who's in the woods that vanishes on people out of the blue. Masingu was a in a sense, he was the Santa Claus of the time. He came to the village. He, if your kids were bad, you would threaten that Masingu would get you, things like that. It was, so when you start to analyze it, it steps very far away from a Bigfoot, to where what on the surface looks like the natives were talking about the same type of Bigfoot. When you dive into it, it becomes very different. It really does. Now I know there are some other tribes, especially as you go in westward and whatnot, that have a Bigfoot creature literally in their culture. But again, what I know of natives from the woodland region, they didn't distinguish a type of Bigfoot. It was always a spiritual creature that actually had involvement with man. Bigfoot that we know hides from man. Masingu did not. Masingu came to you in many ways. So, that's where that difference comes in. That's why I know you were asking about that comparison.
What you're describing is actually what I was talking about, because it wasn't an ape that they were talking about. It was a man that lived in the woods, basically.
Right.
Spirit man or whatever. Maybe we're calling it the wrong thing, because the word Bigfoot wasn't even heard of until the 50s.
Yes, I was going to say 50s or 60s. It was Bigfoot got punned out when the power line dude, I can't think of his name, but he was the one who was actually making Bigfoot prints all across the country. Right. But that's the same time the term got dubbed. But they were all fake prints, and yet some of those prints are used yet today as proof, but they were definitely fake. So again,
that's all bull crap right there. But that's what hurts people, or keeps people from even considering something like this being out there. To me, to my way of thinking, you got people out there faking crap. Try to find real evidence, and use an open imagination, open mind, and decide for yourself without just listening to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's got a comment about,
Right. Well, yeah, because there is an agenda to it. See, there's an agenda to. Yeah, there's an agenda to selling Bigfoot, because because Bigfoot sells. That's just it. So you can't really believe every Bigfoot story, because Bigfoot sells, and it may be just a story for selling purpose. That's what becomes the difficult about it. It starts to look like our government. You don't know who to believe. Everybody's talking, and you think everybody's lying if you listen long enough.
Perfect. Perfect. That's perfect.
Oh, mercy. Well, you know what did we make it in here? We did make it 30 minutes already, right? I think so. Looks like. Yep, we did.
I don't know. I can't see everything. I see me and you.
Well, we've been having a little bit of technical. Yeah, we've been having a little bit of technical difficulty in here, but I think mostly it's been getting out. If anyone has any questions for John, please go ahead and ask. We will be wrapping it up here in a minute. Let me see. What does I still remember? Oh, the movie. Okay, yeah, we're talking about that. Hike with Mike says, I'm a skeptic of the skunk ape stories, but I will say I have experienced some weird things in the green swamp where I came from. And, see, and that's where I would stand, Mike. That's me totally right there. I can give you, if we sat down and we just exchanged weird stories about the woods, we would talk all night long, because I have a million of them. But do I have any stories where I feel I can say, this is what, it's Bigfoot or it's this? No, I don't, my stories will be exactly what they are. They'll tell you the situation from my own viewpoint. And that's all I could give. And if I didn't have a viewpoint to see what was making the noise, then now you're going to hear my imagination, because that's the only thing I'm left with. That's the thing, though. But that does it mean we're right? Does it mean we're wrong? It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that we have to tell it how we know it. And, I guess wait for the proof to come out somewhere else down the line. What's your favorite? And This is for you, John. What is your favorite and most exciting outdoor experience?
My
Oh, did you?
favorite
Oh,
outdoor experience. Well, yeah, I
that's
guess
a hard
there's
one.
a lot of them. I don't know where to start with that. I tell you, most recent last summer, I caught my personal bass, yes, largemouth bass. Almost. That's not a lot for some people, but it was good for me. I like that. I'm not a bass fisherman. I I'm a cat fisherman, basically.
I hear that.
Catfish and sit in the water, sip a adult beverage. I'm good to go for a little while. I'm not good at all that reeling in all the time.
I'm a lazy fisherman myself. I'm happy if I got the line in the water, and sometimes I don't want to fish to bite it because that means I got to get up and mess with it. I just let my line sit there in the water. I'm fishing and I'm happy. I'm a lazy fisherman. I'll admit that. That's just me. But I can go fish all day long. I just
I
maybe
get
I'll
that
touch.
way.
Yeah. Bass are fun to catch. I don't fish for them, but they
Fishing's
are
for
fun.
relaxing.
Yes, definitely. That's my opinion on fishing too. We're out there to relax. That is it. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. This was a great talk, and I'd love to dive into more about the Bigfoot. I think, and maybe we can get together again in the future, and maybe we'll even get in there and get everybody to share some stories and stuff. That'd be pretty cool, I think. But if anyone wants to get over there and see John Hodges' channel, the link is in my description down below. You just open up the description and click on the link. It'll take you to his channel. Ring the bell, do all that normal stuff that we do, but then take a moment and check out the video content that he's uploading. And like I urge with everybody, I urge this if you're looking at my channel or anyone's channel, take a moment and go into his playlist of videos and take a look at some of the things that he's done. Don't just focus on the most recent drop. A lot of us YouTubers, we aren't really down to a niche yet. So there may be something else in there that you're interested in that you don't realize. So take a look. Take a moment. Take a look. What was that?
I know.
Right. I know you.
The best. I'm trying to learn, and watch me learn.
Right on. And I know he's on that road to 1K, guys. So you can definitely, any of you that stop over to visit, you can help him out. Of course, 1K is a goal here on YouTube. If he can reach that point, he can go live with his cell phone. He's also a 100% cell phone creator. So, again, we got to kind of help these guys out. Everybody else in the world who's using a laptop, you guys have the ability to go live. But if you're a cell phone creator, you do not have that ability until you reach 1,000 subs. You're just not allowed to. So, it's a little bit unfair for individuals who are using their phone that they can't do these things. So go ahead, visit his channel, help him reach that 1K, help him get to those goals. Frontier Survivor is in the house. Welcome, my friend. We are getting ready to wrap up. It's great to have you guys here, though. John, if you have anything else you want to add, and then we'll just close it out here and call it a night.
The only thing I want to say, it's not all Bigfoot with me. I'm anything else. I like go on some videos I've done yet. I want to do. I plan on doing.
All right, you guys, yeah, definitely, and we're breaking up again, but that's all right. Definitely check out his channel. Take a moment to look around. Like he just said, he's not all about Bigfoot. There are other things going on over there too. And if you're into Bigfoot, go ahead and check out those stories also. It's always it's always a fun and interesting topic. Frontier Survivor, Mike, Caveman, thank you guys for coming in. Everybody who was here, Posh, and Go Fit, everybody that was out here. I know it kind of calmed down on the chat a little bit, but do appreciate seeing all of you. It's always great. And if anyone wants to join me on the show in the future, we just get on here and we talk about outdoor things and the things we love about outdoors. Hit me up. I'm easy to get a hold of. All you got to do is drop me an email. Hit me up in Twitter, Instagram. Hell, you can leave me a comment if that's the only way you can get a hold of me, and we'll still work it out. So it's easy. Just get a hold of me, and we'll get you on a show. John, you hang on when I disconnect here for a few minutes, but I am going to kind of verbally sign off with you right now. Just don't go anywhere. I want to thank you for being here tonight and for, sharing your channel and some of your experiences. And I again just want to encourage everybody to check you out. And I'm going to end it right there. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You all have a great night. And